Welcome to another Alkebulan Awakening series in conjunction with Kumbu Kenny. My name, as always, is Ola Diledosumu. I'm the co-founder of the Emerging Alkebulan, and we're about decolonizing our minds and awakening our consciousness. And welcome this evening. Andrew.
Habari gani, karibuni, asanteni kwa kuwa nasi. How are you doing? What's the news? Habari gani, karibuni, welcome, asanteni, thank you for being with us. That's Kiubuntu, otherwise known as Kiswahili. It's good to be here. It's good to take ownership of informing our people. It's good to take ownership of telling our narratives. It's good to see that we are actually putting into action our words. So I'm happy today that we're joined with Brother Galactic Clyde, and I'm looking forward to what he has to show. He's been with us before, so you all know him. And for those of you who don't know him, you'll see why he's been asked to come back and share with us. So looking forward to the conversation today.
Thank you. Brother Clyde, Galactic Clyde, if you want to introduce yourself. The topic today, as you can see on the screens, it says amazing health and healing systems of Africa. Africa has a wealth of health systems. We have roots, we have basically everything. So my brother is going to go into details. My point here is just a little point here is basically what we've done as Africans, and we seem to copy the West in terms of their allopathic medicine. We have our herbs, we have our holistic medicine, but for some reason we have demonized our health system to embrace the allopathic, which is basically detrimental to our health. But Galactic Clyde, please, I'll leave it up to you. Introduce yourself and take it away for us, please.
Yes, greetings. I'm Galactic Clyde. Yes, I'm just happy to bring forth this amazing, or to talk about this amazing health and healing system of Africa, as I'm actually studying it at this moment, going through country by country, month by month. Well, let me introduce myself first before I talk about the dialogue of where we're coming from. I'm Galactic Clyde. I'm an astrologer. I'm a herbalist. I'm a geometer, or into sacred geometry. I wear many hats, and in the world of business, I'm a builder. Yes. So these many hats that I wear help me to be who I am, and what I'm doing here. Yes. And so all my life, I've been always into health and healing from an herbal standpoint, growing up in the Caribbean. And the way I've been taught helps me to it's a lifelong learning, because we were taught through a system where we learn about our environment, and it's still going on today. Wherever I am in the world, I'm studying the environment and learning about different herbs, different bush, different systems of healing. And so today is the amazing health and healing system of Africa. Okay, so I would like to present it. So we give thanks for those who are with us, and those who are still coming. We still give thanks. So I'd just like to read out something that I have written down. I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me. Let me just get to it. Hold on.
Have you got it? Hello, bro. Yeah, it seems like it's frozen. Nikki, you're muted.
Are we presenting the PowerPoint or the audio that you were going to play?
No. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
You froze there for a bit.
Okay. Are we back now? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we're back now, yeah. We can hear you, yeah.
Okay.
Ah.
Nah. Give me a second. Let me have a private
We're gonna
chat.
ask our creatress, our ancestors and nature to work with us today, so that we can part this message and the lessons.
Just because, guys, we're having some technical issues, as you can see with Galactic Clyde there. Okay, I think it sent it to me.
I send it to you because I don't know what's
Yeah.
happening. You want to read it?
Okay. Okay, I will read it.
Because I think it's my line. I don't know why. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
when you're trying to switch lines, I think it's not having it.
It's not happening.
Okay,
Okay,
I
go
will
ahead.
read it. Okay, the future is buried in the past, and the past can always be resurrected to serve us, be it physically, mentally, and spiritually. Astrology proves that goes around comes back around in the revolution of the planets and stars, and and above and so below. Below we can see this happening in the seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. They go and come back to us again. Some may say, but Galactic Clyde in Africa or Caribbean, we do not have these four seasons. I would say no, but there is the wet and dry season
Right.
and the hot and the cold season. Going even deeper, we know that there are perennial plants that return each year. However, we lack the knowledge on the return of the souls to the earthy realms. Yet some of us know that there are powerful soul returning. So when they come, that they take claims to the names they want to be called. We can do many lectures on such stories, but today our emphasis on the amazing health of healing of African systems. Is that good enough, or she want to carry on?
Yes, thank you. That's perfect. That's perfect. So yes, the season comes and go. So just the planetary revolution, and we know that as African people, we have the mental, physical, and spiritual aspect of life, or we say the mental, spirit, physical, and spiritual. Most of the medicine that we have been taught both is based on more of the mental and physical. But as I study African system, I see it's deep and deep in the spiritual connection. So health and healing is not just a mental, physical thing. It's very spiritual. And that's where African systems of health and healing comes in. Today, people wonder, why is it that the allopathic is the main system of health and healing? It's because of the power dynamic, wars and finance and different things that they've there's controlled the market in one sense. But we know from the World Health Organization that over 80% of African people still relies on traditional ways of healing. Why? Because we were designed in a specific way that the food is the medicine and the medicine is the food. Not only medicine, but the knowledge of health and healing is within the food that we eat. So we don't need to be equipped with a so-called doctor in the sense of how we understand it from a modern day standpoint. Because what we need to know is within the plant kingdom, animal kingdom, and the celestial kingdom. And as we partake, we would understand where we stand. And that's where African health and healing comes in. Because African health and healing system is understanding the intelligence within nature and the spiritual intelligence more so than just the physical and mental. Because when it comes on to health and healing, or when it comes on to healers from an African standpoint, a lot of people don't just decide to be a healer because of the finance. Just wake up there and one day, or just say, well, in terms of where to go in terms of business, let me just be a healer. No. Majority of people are being called into a service from a spiritual standpoint. That's why when you come on to health and healing in Africa, there's a strong connection to the priestly class or priesthood, both male and female, priests and priestesses. So in early January, I've got a psychic message to study the health and healing system of the whole of Africa, month by month, each country. And so I started within my WhatsApp group and let them know that I got the message, and I'm going to do that and share the information with my WhatsApp group and other group that I'm part of. And the message come to me intuitively. So I said to my group, guess which country I'm going to start with? And everybody start listing different countries. But nobody got the country that I had in mind to start with. It was Namibia. And why I decided Namibia, because I got to find out that Namibia had the largest meteorite in the world. Not a meteorite that fall on the earth, but a meteorite that landed, baffling the scientists. When I read it, I was like, wow. They don't understand how this meteorite fall, as they claim, in Namibia and doesn't create a crater. This meteorite is about the size of, it's actually what they said, 20 ton, which is like 60 ton, which is the size of 3 elephants. Supposed to fall in Namibia, but no crater. That don't add up. But because I'm one person that studied meteorite, I understand that it didn't fall, it landed. Because being an avid researcher, as I love researching, and meteorite is one of the things that I've researched, I'm familiar with the Native American tradition about meteorite that actually appear and disappear. And there's a particular story in Native American tradition about a meteorite that actually dreamed certain natives in the community that it was going to come down as a particular person, and at a certain time they was going to leave. And it actually happened. But that's a different story for a different time and place. If you need reference, I could give reference. Actually, the stories in the book are called Star Walking by Brian Page. You can find that story in the book in connection to the Native American and meteorite as a reference. So when I came across that the meteorite fall to Earth but didn't form a crater, I knew exactly the meteorite landed. So we started to do some research. I started to do extensive research into the health and healing system in Namibia. Blown away. That Namibia have a plant that is said that never dies. The plant been lived for hundreds of years. It's called Welwitschia, named after one European who have actually rediscovered or came to know about the plant. But the natives have their own native name for it. I'll bring that up later on. And so it's amazing when I was studying the health and healing system of Namibia and the way how they approach health and healing, traditional dance for mental issues, and it's just amazing. Then for Namibia, I went to study because the whole month I study Namibia. Then for Namibia, I went to study Malawi, and I'm also well, I went to Uganda, then Malawi. Is it you? Is the other way around? I think it's Malawi, then Uganda, and now I'm studying Ghana. So I'm going month by month, each country, 30 days or whatever the days of the month in connection. How much days in the month? I'm studying the different countries. And so as you see up on the corner of the screen here, the PowerPoint, and you see health minister, and this is the Minister of Health logo for Uganda. And so let's open up the PowerPoint.
Okay.
The first slide. I came across this sister, did not know about him, never heard about the story, but in doing research, I came across this sister. And most people don't know who this sister is, because it's, even though she's a public figure in what she does, most people don't know who she is. So let's go to the next slide. So this sister is well known, Dr. Wayne, well known for performing or a part of a team, or she's the major lead of a team dealing with of a medical team in I can make it big. I'm trying to make it bigger.
It looks just fine.
It's fine, bro.
It looks just fine. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to read the yeah, she's doing kidney transplant on the continent. So this is linking modern ways of allopathic medicine, and she's a champion in connection to performing kidney transplant in on the continent. And why is this important? Because lots of people, even though they're in the Western world and they've been living here, come here maybe at an early age, when they retire, they don't want to go home because they think about their medical attentions and different things. And they because of their allopathic medicine, they don't want to go home because they're not steep, they don't understand the traditional healing, a lot of them, and they don't think that they're getting proper medical attention. Okay, but just to let them know that on the continent, yes, there are doctors that are performing amazing you know, modern day surgery, and this is one doctor here that I want to, from Senegal. And also one of the things that she's doing is also she's working to help a lot of the natives from the military who actually been retired and also need medical support and things like that. Okay, so she's a champion, and I recommend that everybody to do some research on about her work. Okay. Okay, go back to the logo. I think we have the logo there. Can you hear me? Okay, so the Bonyoro Kitara Kingdom, a powerful kingdom in Uganda. And I was blown away when I was doing the research in Uganda, because I've learned that actually they had a history of going back to brain surgery. And so when the European came upon the Uganda and realized they were doing brain surgery, they was amazed. And actually is the document about advanced brain surgery that was going on in Uganda. Okay, so people had there's amazing things that goes on the continent that, you know, and this was way back in I don't have the date right now for that, but go to the next slide. List of different health and healing practice in Uganda. So when I talk about when we talk about health and healing, it's not just a mental or physical thing, but it's also spiritual. So we had the Balagizi, or from the Buganda tribe in Uganda, and those are spirit guide, prophets, healer. So they're healer because they work with herbs, but they also work with the dream, and they also offer prophecy, and they call in Balagizi. Then you have what you call the Azwaka from the Akoli this is and langi, which are spirit medium. So in different parts of Africa, there's different spirit mediums. But in Uganda, it's called the Azwaka. That's a name for a spirit medium that actually they would do like traditional dance and help with mental healing, psychological healing, and things like that, and community healing. These are some of the roles that the Balagizi plays. Ba Manga, or from the Bosango, ancestral diviner and spirit mediums. The Omutaka, these are clan-based spirit healers. So they mostly work within clans and with in terms of spiritual healing. The Omofumu, spiritual healer. So they have different names for the different classes or different standard of healing within the tradition of Uganda. And not only Uganda, but different tribal groups in different parts of Africa, such as Nigeria, Ghana, and different parts of Africa, South Africa. Yes. Okay. The Obashaho, a traditional healer using a mixture of herbs, spiritual ritual, and ancestral communication to cure illness. Next slide. In Uganda, the Balagizi, or spirit medium, or prophet healer, Balagizi, there's a 5,000 year old, the 5,000 is a 5,000 or 50,000 year old rock painting in Uganda depicting energy rays of the sun. Okay, and these are also symbol for the Balagizi symbol. They recognize these symbols in connection and use it for their logo as well. Next slide. And so this is the I think it is Buganda. This is in Uganda. There's a major cave in this monument in Uganda where this painting, where this is in the ceiling. I can't wait to go there to visit that.
Yeah, it's too
Next
bad
slide.
that many Wazungus are there, but go on, brother.
Yes. But even though they visit, we don't get to hear about the amazing health and healing systems in Africa, because it makes it seem like we're backward. But we're backward as they consider, but yet 80% of our population on the continent still relied on traditional medicine because they work. And we'll talk about the difference. Yes, next slide. So as Waka, what I said, those are traditional healer. The Akoli, the people in Uganda, spirit medium, traditional healer. They perform healing ceremony, involve dancing, drumming, and spirit invocation. Yes. Next slide. I can't see this so clearly. I don't know why, because it's
I can read. Do you want me
Yeah,
to
you
read
want
it for you?
yes, please, because it's not as clear. I know I have it on the
Features
computer.
Features
Guide.
of the Ajuaka ritual: trance induction. The afflicted person, guided by the Ajuaka, enters a trance through rhythmic drumming and chanting. Spirit consultation. The Ajuaka communicates with spirits to diagnose and treat the illness. Use of herbs and offerings. Herbal medicines and symbolic offerings, for example, animal sacrifices, are sometimes used. Community participation. Friends and family join in the dance to provide emotional and spiritual support.
Yeah, next. Yeah, thank you. So these are Bamanga. So these are ancestral diviners. So they communicate directly with the ancestors and give messages. So we don't talk enough about the ancestors or the spiritual world. We don't talk enough, and especially because we've been westernized. But we are in a world that is also in another world. So the world, this world, the physical world, is linked with the spiritual world as well as the world of the mental plane. It's an interlink. And the ancestors represents the libraries of the spirit world. That's the best way to put it. And our African elders and chiefs and diviners and healers are able to communicate with the ancestors to get messages. One of the things that used to baffle me growing up is like, how do people know to eat this and not to eat that, and how they know not to be poisoned by certain things? But as I do research after research, I realize that there's a direct symbiotic connection with us and the physical world as well as the spiritual world. That the plants can connect us with other plant and other understanding of nature. But our ancestors or our elders, our diviners, our healers know how to communicate direct with ancestors to get messages and different plants and different herbs. And actually, we also have a strong connection where the plants can communicate with us. It's not according to the westernized medicine where they have to dissect these different animals and cut them out, or they have to manipulate animals such as poison them just to see how long they would survive and things like that. A lot of it is not really proper health and healing in that sense, but yet it's considered the number one when it comes on to science. So what is considered science in the Western world is interrogating nature, manipulating nature, and destroying nature to gain knowledge. But in our ancestral understanding, it's communicating with nature, communicating with nature's spirits, with ancestors, and get direct messages. Plants can communicate with us. Animals can communicate with us. The planetary system can communicate with us. And the ancestors can communicate with us in terms of their power and abilities and what we need to know. But because a lot of us are dense, we choose to do the brutal way of interrogating nature. The animal sacrifice in terms of destroying animals, such as poisoning rats and all of the cage animals that they're using in order to study and to try to understand how medicine works. Our ancestors communicate with the medicine. They communicate with the ancestors. And this is what it's all about. That's what makes it amazing. Next slide. Sorry?
You see it, brother? Omutaka wenda.
Yeah. You want, okay. Okay, yeah. So these are clan-based spiritual healers. So even though you have healers that works with the general public, you got healers just for the clans and chiefs and things like that. Yeah. Their job is to make sure that the ruling class or the spiritual elite are taken care of, or the kings or chiefs. Next. I think that's the same. Yes. Next.
You're muted, Oladile. There you go.
Okay. The term Omoshoho refers to prophet, visioners, diviners, who receive message from spirit, ancestors, and divine source. The Omoshaho clans have been born with prophetic abilities, while others acquire their power through training, visions, or supernatural encounters. They often work as spiritual advisors, healers, and herbalists, protectors against witchcraft, interpreters of dreams and omens. You want to read that one, sis?
Yes. Who is an Omushaho? The term Omushaho refers to a prophet, visionary, or diviner who receives messages from spirits, ancestors, or divine sources. Some Omushaho claim to have been born with prophetic abilities, while others acquire their powers through training, visions, or supernatural encounters. They often work as spiritual advisors, healers and herbalists, protectors against witchcraft, interpreters of dreams and omens. The source is right there for those of you who are watching. Mm-hmm. The book is The Role of Traditional Prophets in Uganda, Kiza, by Kiza B.
And it's important to reiterate that this is not just limited to Uganda, but they have their own name for these different healers. So you will say Obata, you will say there's a different name for the priest. What we said, the
Obatala.
Obatala, or no, you say no. What you say for the priest? There's another name. It's almost like Obatala, but it's the different priest. Say anyway. Come back to that.
You mean the Ifa priests?
Ifa priests, yes.
Okay. Okay, next slide.
And so what I find as I'm going from different African countries, there's different names for the similar principles that they work in, but each country have their own name. Even for the herbalists, they have their own names, different names for the different herbalists. Okay, so Basogo, Eastern Uganda, Omafoho, spiritual healer. That sister, please, it's blocking the picture. Is blocking.
Oh, yes, brother, that the logo.
I'll take that. I'll take it also.
Thank you. Spiritual healers.
Whoops.
Took off everything.
That came off. I took the wrong thing off. Give me a second. I'll bring it back.
Yeah, okay.
Apologies, guys. Presentation. Okay, let's go. I'm taking the wrong thing off. Remove that. Oops. Let me just take this off. Give me a second. I'll take this off completely. And I can go back to that.
You took the guest off.
I took the guest off. Okay, I'm bringing it back. The logo doesn't want to come off. Okay, let's go. What one were we on?
I'll let you know when we get there. Go on. There.
Is that one? I'll go back.
18.
18, okay. All right.
So I think the word there is healers. Basoga, Eastern Uganda, Omufumu, spiritual healers. The Basoga believe in spiritual mediums, Bamanga, who act as prophets, guiding individuals and communities. The Omufumu healers claim to receive messages from Mandwa spirits, ancestral beings. The source is the book, The Customs of the Basoga by Kagwa A, 1934.
Do you want to speak on that? Should I go to the next one?
Yeah, we could go to the next one. Yes. Talking about in connection to the spiritual aspects of healing, which is what's lacking.
Do you see, as we speak and as we continue to look at the linguistics, do you see the relationship between Abashaho and Obasanjo? You see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I said the
It's
names may be
amazing.
different, but the principles are the same
Yeah.
or similar,
Amazing.
different parts. Yes, yes, yes. The small
Mm-hmm.
for me to see.
Abashaho are traditional healers using a mix of herbs, spiritual rituals, and ancestral communication to cure illnesses, foretelling the future, healing illnesses through spiritual means, interpreting dreams.
Yes. And I want to say this. I want to say, don't think because you haven't come up to the priesthood that you don't have the qualities of a Abu Shaho or an Azwaka. Because when you're doing, like I do the labyrinth rituals and I do the drumming ceremony, it's like an Azwaka, even though it's not as an Abu Shaho or Azwaka, but we have elements of these things because we're our own messages. If we were born into certain tradition where we will be taken into the priesthood, then we would be nurtured these gifts that we have. Because for me, I could tell you, when I was small in the Caribbean, I see myself speaking at the school. I see it in the dream. I'm speaking this, and I couldn't understand that. So I went to see, which is me. But we get our own visions as to who we are and what we're supposed to do. Yes. And so I think these are far-fetched from the average person. It's just that we are not stooped in the tradition, and a lot of us don't understand it. As I'm studying these, I can see the connections or interconnection. Tell me about dreams that they may have and different issues that they go through, but they may not consider themselves different spiritual practice. So it's so important for us to research our legacy, our history, because as I said, the future is the past because it's a circle. Everything is a circle. It's coming back. We're going back because it's a circle. It's going around to come back around. And this is why the past is the future and the future is the past. And energy is the one that tells us this as well. But also every year the spring come back and the plants come back and certain ancestors come back. We may not know who they are, but some priests can tell you, or some people, they come back and they will ask for their name. And if they don't give the name, the baby gets sick until they search to give them that name. So their ancestors come back. So it's a cycle within a cycle within a cycle, and we're cycling. Yes.
The next slide, bro.
Do you want me to read it?
Yes.
And this to me this is not news. You know how you're disconnected from our way of being, but when you see it, you understand it, you know it. This is not news.
Mm-hmm.
How dance contributes to healing in Uganda, psychological therapy. Dance allows emotional expression and catharsis, spiritual cleansing. Many believe spirits cause illness, so rituals like dance can help cleanse the body. Community support, healing dances bring people together to support the afflicted person. Quickly, brother, before you go, brother Galactic Clyde, I've said several times to people who've been with me in community that when I dance, I just release. Don't worry about how you're dancing, whether you're dancing the way people want you to dance. If you actually truly just dance to the music or to the
Yes.
energy, right? Because that sometimes
Yes.
you're dancing to energy and
Mhm.
release, it is a very
Yes. Yes.
therapeutic process. But go on, brother. I'm not surprised by this at all.
So powerful, and dancing is very important because it's invoking, it's because they say when the drum plays, it actually excites the spirit world. What is the drum? The drum is the plant and animal kingdom combined. It's a sacrifice that we give back for taking. We utilize the kingdom, so that's the wood part of the drum, represents the plant kingdom that we partake of. The animal part of the drum represents the animal kingdom that we partake of. And so there's designed the drum to give back to the world of spirit from taking from the world of the plant and the animal. So when we hit the drum, or when we're connecting animal and the plant kingdom to the spiritual, to the spirit, and the spirit gets really the bass, thunders the bass, wakes the spirit to, oh yes, I'm coming. I've got a message for him. I hope he's dancing, because when he dances, his spirit is high. Those that are sitting by the side is not in tune. You have to raise your vibration. And that's what dancing is. You raise that vibration so the ancestral spirits can come in and give us messages. Messages for us personally, others. And that's why dance is so important towards healing. Ceremony, we lost that. It was beaten out of us. Of ceremony, we don't even have these. But Africa has retained that. And that's why we connect with our brothers and sisters and the continent. Or even if they're in the Western world, we got to ask questions. We got to speak to them, ask them about their tradition, and learn what we can, because we're so interlinked. Next one. I think that's the last one.
The Vimbuza dance. The Vimbuza dance is associated with the Tumbuka people of northern Malawi. What is the Vimbuza dance? Vimbuza is a traditional therapeutic dance performed as part of a healing ceremony for people suffering from mental, emotional, or spiritual distress. It is believed to be a way of communicating with ancestral spirits and helping individuals regain emotional balance. The dance is often used to treat conditions that local communities perceive as spiritual possession, trauma, or psychological distress.
Thank you. Yes. Let me see. You want to, okay. Dance, which is actually, I'm really interested in the Vimbuva dance, and actually to get some people who actually are versed in that to reenact the Vimbuva dance and have it as something that we need to learn over here, where people are going through a lot of stress, people are going through a lot of mental issues, and they're very good because it's a dance that helps to free you from the mental prison that a lot of issues that a lot of people are I think, and it's been signed, recognized. Okay, so yeah, I think there's one more. Yeah, yes.
Listen, every time I see this, I'm like, who the hell do they think they are that we need them to recognize us? Like UNESCO, who the hell do you think you are, UNESCO, that we need you to recognize us? Like, honestly, who the hell does UNESCO think they are that we need them to recognize the Vimbuza dance? This is, anyway, brother, go on.
We got a couple more. Yeah, you got the Bola.
Yes. Oh yes, those are different. These are similar dances, but these are all dance to invoke spiritually, to raise our vibration so that we can be in tune with the world of the ancestors. So the world and the spiritual world is what they call we're interlinked, like a link with the physical world and the spiritual world interlinked. And when we're on a heightened state of awareness, we're tapped into spirit. That's why sleep, when we go to sleep, our physical body is at sleep, but our spiritual body is in communicating with the ancestors, and we call this dream. Okay, all right. Okay, let's just okay, so we take a break from that, and then you want to play that audio, because what happens, the reason, let me just explain the reason why the focus is on so much on Uganda. At the time when we were organized to do this talk, I was in the month. Now we're in the month of Ghana, meaning I'm studying Ghana for the month, and I almost I've given you a audio on Ghana, so you're gonna play that. Yes, thanks.
Okay, I'm gonna play that now. So listen up.
Traditional healing in Ghana is deeply connected to folklore, myths, and ancestral wisdom. These stories serve as both lessons and testimonies to the power of herbal and spiritual healing. Below are some well-known folklore healing stories from different ethnic groups in Ghana. Shart 1. The Healer and the Cursed Chief, Akan Folktale. In an old Akan village, a powerful chief suddenly fell ill. His body swelled, his skin darkened, and no modern medicine could cure him. The royal herbalist tried every known remedy, but the sickness only worsened. One night, an old woman from a nearby forest approached the palace and claimed she had the cure. The council laughed. How could a poor old woman know what great healers didn't? The woman instructed them to prepare a bath using a secret combination of prekes, tetraplurotetraptera, bitter leaf, Vernonia amygdalina some, and a special stone found only under the baobab tree. She then told them to take the chief to the river at dawn and bathe him while chanting the names of his ancestors. Desperate, they followed her instructions. By midday, the chief's swelling reduced, and within days he was completely healed. The old woman revealed that the chief's illness was caused by breaking an ancestral oath, and only by reconnecting with his roots could he be cured. Since then, the prekise bath became a known remedy for spiritual afflictions in Akan healing traditions. The twin healers and the whispering leaves, Yu myth. Among the Yu people, there is a tale of twin boys, Akorli and Akorfa, born under a rare alignment of stars. From birth, they could hear the voices of trees and plants. One day, a deadly fever swept through their village, killing many, including the village chief's son. The elders turned to the twins for help. They walked into the sacred forest and listened. The whispering leaves of the neem tree told them, "Boil us, mix us with the bark of the odum tree, and let the sick drink." The twins obeyed, and within days, those who drank the herbal tea recovered. The chief was so grateful that he declared them the official healers of the land. Even today, neem, Azadirachta indica, and odum, Militia excelsa, are widely used in Ghanaian traditional medicine to treat fever and infections. The spirit healer and the snake poison, Dagomba legend. In the Dagomba kingdom of northern Ghana, there was a young healer named Zimbi who had a special gift. He could talk to spirits in his dreams.
Yeah.
One day, a hunter was bitten by the deadly Sama snake. No one had a cure for its venom, and death was certain. The hunter's wife, in tears, pleaded with Zimbi to save her husband. That night, Zimbi had a vision. A spirit appeared and whispered, "Find the red plant with 3 leaves and a single white flower. Crush it, mix with shea butter, and rub it on the wound." At dawn, Zimbi searched the forest and found the plant exactly as the spirit described. He made the remedy, and within hours, the hunter began to recover. Since then, the red Sama herb, later identified as Carissa edulish, became a known antidote for snake venom among the Dagomba. 4. The woman who became a tree, Ga myth. In an old Ga village, a woman named Na Adelaide was known for her wisdom in herbs. People traveled far to seek her remedies. However, jealous rivals accused her of witchcraft, and she was banished. Heartbroken, Na Adelaide walked into the sacred forest and disappeared. The next day, in the exact spot where she was last seen, a new tree had grown overnight, one that had never been seen before. When villagers crushed its leaves, it released a strong healing scent. They called it Adelaide's tree, and soon its leaves were used to treat wounds, infections, and spiritual ailments. Modern botanists later identified the tree as Alstonia bunai, known today as the God's tree, a powerful herbal medicine used for pain relief and fever in Ghana. 5. The warrior who couldn't die, Nzema legend. During the great wars of the Nzema people, a legendary warrior named Iku was rumored to be invincible. He was struck by spears and arrows, yet he never bled or fell. Enemies feared him, believing he was a spirit. After his death, his secret was revealed. Before every battle, he drank a mixture of turkey berry, Solanum torvum, ginger, Zingiber officinal, and coconut water. This concoction strengthened his blood, boosted his immune system, and made his body resistant to wounds. Even today, Nzema warriors and athletes drink a version of Eku's tonic for strength and endurance. Conclusion: the power of storytelling in traditional healing. These folklore healing stories are not just myths. They reflect real herbal knowledge passed down through generations. Many of the plants and practices described in these stories have been scientifically studied and found to have real medicinal properties.
Thank you. I think I need that last one.
Yeah, okay. Yes, you got the recipes there. Yes. I send you some other, have you seen them?
Yeah, I've seen
but
them,
I don't know how much time we have. Let's just assess our timing.
Okay. Yeah, can we do another one? And then we can, because we need to talk about what you've spoken.
We're under an hour weekend. Yeah.
Okay,
good.
You want to do one more?
Yes, it's up to you.
Okay,
yes,
let's do one more. Yeah, okay. Yes. All right.
And just a quick shout out as you start that to Nicholas Masomo. Thank you for using that language and hitting my spirit. Go on.
You can choose anyone.
Healers in Ghana and their practices. Traditional healers in Ghana perform various roles, often combining herbal medicine, spiritual healing, and physical therapies. Here's a closer look at the major types of healers and their specific practices. 1. Herbalists. Dunsini, Sanufu, Amitsime, Role. Specialize in using medicinal plants, roots, barks, and natural remedies to treat diseases. Prescribe herbal concoctions, powders, teas, ointments, and oils. Treat common illnesses like malaria, stomach disorders, skin diseases, and infertility. How they work. Knowledge of herbs is usually passed down through family lineage or apprenticeships. Some gain knowledge through divine revelation or spiritual callings. Some herbalists are trained at institutions like the Center for Scientific Research into Plant Medicine in Ghana. Example of healing. A herbalist treating malaria may prepare a decoction of neem leaves, Azadirachta indica, and pawpaw leaves, both known for their antimalarial properties. 2. Spiritual healers diviners. Okomfo, Ulomo, Tugbui, Bono, Malam, Role. Diagnose illnesses caused by supernatural forces, ancestors, or curses. Perform rituals, prayers, sacrifices, and spiritual cleansing. Act as mediums between the living and the spirit world. Often serve as advisors in personal and community matters. How they work. Use divination tools like cowrie shells, mirrors, and sacred stones to determine the cause of illness. Conduct rituals involving drumming, dancing, and trance states. May prescribe specific herbs, baths, or charms to aid healing. Example of healing. A person suffering from chronic nightmares may be given a spiritual bath with specially prepared herbs to cleanse negative energies. Traditional bone setters. Bosuorfo, Blemasal, Role. Specialize in treating fractures, sprains, and dislocations. Use manual techniques, massage, and herbal compresses. How they work. Apply herbal pastes and bandages to fractured areas. Use massage and stretching techniques to realign bones. Recommend dietary changes and rest for healing. Example of healing. A patient with a broken arm may receive an herbal poultice made from bamboo leaves and palm kernel oil, wrapped tightly with local cloth instead of a modern cast. Nasha 4. Birth attendants and fertility specialists, traditional midwives, Role. Help with childbirth, pregnancy care, and postpartum healing. Use herbs to promote fertility and prevent complications during labor. Provide massages and dietary recommendations for pregnant women. How they work. Use herbs like Precus, Tetraptera to speed up labor. Perform postpartum rituals to cleanse and protect newborns. Guide new mothers on traditional breastfeeding and child care practices. Example of healing. A woman struggling with infertility may receive a herbal mixture made from baobab roots, ginger, and honey to enhance fertility. Nair 5. Protectors and charm makers. Suman Senefo, Bonsamfo Mam Role. Prepare protective charms and amulets for health, prosperity, and safety. Use Quranic inscriptions, malams, or ancestral powers, traditional priests, for protection. Offer solutions for issues like bad luck, financial struggles, and spiritual attacks. How they work. Perform rituals to bless objects with protective energy. Mix herbs, animal parts, and sacred materials into talismans. Some use incantations or Quranic verses for extra potency. Example of healing. A trader fearing bad luck in business may receive a specially prepared charm wrapped in leather pouches to carry around. Conclusion. Traditional healers in Ghana play an essential role in healthcare especially in rural communities where access to hospitals may be limited. Their methods, though sometimes seen as mystical, have been effective for generations and are now being integrated into modern healthcare practices.
Okay, wow. You want to talk about that, bro?
You see what is confirmed the connection with the spiritual aspects of healing is not just going to school the way how we look at it from the Western world, or somebody just decide to pick a trade that they want to do. No, it's a special calling. It's a spiritual calling, and there's tradition that's passed down, and people are very versed. So yes, the knowledge is there. It's just that it's not. We don't take the interest as we should as diasporan. In terms of the because the brothers, they know if you go to the continent, they can tell you so much about different plants. But when we're in the Western world, we don't realize how much the dynamics of natural healing goes on the continent. I come from the Caribbean. I've been out of the Caribbean from since age 19. I'm almost going to my 60s. Yes. Spoiler alert. Yes. I never walk in. I have not walked into any medical institution for any help. Not even for. I've been living in the UK for 20 years. They tell me oh, you need to sign up with the NHS. Okay, I signed up. Oh yeah, you need to come for a blood test. I say, see you later. Yeah. Because why? I'm very funny because the knowledge, what I've been taught is all natural. And I stick with the natural. I take care of myself. And so people said, wait, you're not getting older, you're getting younger. You know, you're not aged. Well, I know some of the plants. I mean, I've done research, very extensive research in different plants and things like that. And not only research, but I partake. I take this stuff because I grew up with a grandmother that used to go to the doctor and take the pills home and throw them away. Because she used to say they want to kill me out. They go just to do a check, but they never trust the doctors. And I'm living in the UK and I've done assessment for people and herbs, and people are doing similar things here. It never changed because they know that the stuff that is synthetic is not aligned with the body. It don't have the intelligence of healing. We got to go natural. We got to stay natural and look after ourselves. And I could say a lot more there, but I think people can read between the line before, you know what I mean? I think people can understand what I'm saying. Look after yourself because it's very important. It's not that we're not going to die. We don't come here to turn stone. We don't come here to stay forever. But as we're here, we take care of ourselves the way we know to do it. Not all kind of portion that doesn't work. The portion doesn't add up. It's not aligned with our portion. And as I'm doing more and more research and seeing more and more, a lot of the stuff that's on the market is just on the market. And that's why I wrote a poem called Shelf Life. A lot of it is designed for shelf life, not our life.
Whoa.
It's for shelf life.
Wow.
It's designed to stay long on the shelf, not to keep you alive, but to stay awake on the shelf. So forget about shelf life. Look after your life. And I'm sure people understand what I'm saying without even have to say the things that I should say, you know, that I don't need to say because your people understand what I'm talking about. You know, my son one time, he said, Dad, you don't look like a dad. You know, because they think I'm look too young for you know, but you take care of your body. So there's a herb. I learned about a herb more than 20 years ago. And the man that actually, an Asian man that's been an herbalist and an ethnobotanist and studying herbology, and they said he lived for 256 years. Yeah? And the herb that he take, I take that herb. And it's called Hoshu. And it's been recommended to a lot of people. The English word for it is FOTI, 40. FO space TI. 40. It's one of those herbs that is longevity. But that's not the only. There's lots of herbs out there that can help us to live a long, successful life. I talked to a lot of people about baobab. The other day, I went to West London to do an assessment on a brother. Somebody introduced me to him. And as I go to see him, I met him for the first time. He's walking with his shoulder lean. I said, wait, do you always like that? He says, no. He said, everybody just telling me hold up his shoulder. But he say he don't know, he's just like that. But when I do the assessment, because there's electronic assessment that we can do, and when I do the assessment, I see there that his age ligament is way high. That means bone degeneration. And he's showing. But our ancestors don't do that. They don't need the electronic assessment. They equipped us and tell us, take the baobab, take this, take that, because they know what the age would gonna be. They know as you age, you need certain things. So it's not a matter of, so that's why they say prevention. So our system of medicine is a system of prevention. Yes? So
Yes.
a baobab, how long can the baobab live? A baobab, 4,500 years, they outlive us. So much vitamin C, calcium, and different minerals, so much minerals in the baobab.
And there's a threat now to the baobab tree with the Wazungu cutting it and taking it.
Yes. Another plant, and I'm just not talking about this for the exercise, I'm talking about it because I want people to go and study this plant and take them. Another plant is the moringa. One of my top herbalists, because I just didn't just come like that to just study herbs. I've got other people I learned from. I met people talk about, Dr. Sebi. I know Dr. Sebi. I've been at his lecture. I shake hands with Dr. Sebi. Yeah? What's his name? Anthony Andau. Anthony Andau from Ghana. He was the first one who spoke to us about a man who's outstanding. A lot of people don't know, Akomfo Nachi. Akomfo is a Ghanaian word for priest. Akomfo Nachi was a very powerful, one of the world's powerful man ever lived. Akomfo, Okomofu, Akomfo Nachi. Yeah. Because of time, I'm just gonna just want to talk about it. So he talks to us about the Akomfo Nachi, but when he said that he was the one who actually revolutionized the merengue plant, because the CIA, he said hire him to study the merengue plant, to research the merengue plant. Merengue is so nutritious for our body, because most of the things on the market is not for our life. They are for shelf life. And until we get it, we ain't getting nowhere. Soda, what's in it for us? All the synthetic food, they're not for us. They are not for us. We're not designed, because the intelligence are not in there. Those are based on colonialism. They are the brainchilds of colonialism, which is the most destructive force on the planet. Colonialism, food of colonialism is not food for our health, because colonialism is not a healthy system. So how could the food be healthy? Colonialism was unhealthy, and so is the food of colonialism. So we got to get back to our ancient traditional ways of eating, learning about the plants that our ancestors and food that our ancestors utilize for life. Not for shelf life, but for real life.
Galactic Clyde, you said a lot there. Undercover, before you go, I know you're waiting there. You got your gun loaded, ready to shoot.
Ready. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
Harriet Tubman has got nothing on me. But go on.
Bro, as a Nigerian, and
Yes.
this is basically my challenge with Africans, because I'm a diaspora and I'm a Nigerian. And you know where I'm going with this, Nduku. Our people are trying so hard, and I hope there's Nigerians, Africans listening to this. Our African brothers and sisters are trying so hard to disregard everything that you've told us. The irony is you are based in the UK, okay?
Yes.
You know the importance of the herbs back in Africa.
Yes.
But Africans are trying so hard to get rid of these indigenous knowledge systems, to embrace everything that the Caucasians sell to them, not realizing that what we have is actually a lot better for our body, healthier, but they absorbing the synthetic medicine, the allopathic medicine. When we
maybe we should just let them be Oladile so that they can be killed off. We need more people.
Okay.
Listen, maybe that's nature taking care of the situation. Maybe the fools need to be killed off by stupidity. But go on, brother. I digress.
Yeah, because you got all these, I say these miseducated people who will come on our platform, probably listening on LinkedIn right now, who don't hear what you're saying.
Okay, let's talk about science, because they like to give us, it's not scientific. It's not scientific, the base. So that means they have not feed it to a rat or a cat or some kind of animal that they have in a cage that they're destroying, that they're manipulating in order to get an assessment. But our ancestors don't get the message from spirit. What other message do we need? You understand? Talk about bitter leaf. You hear about bitter leaf. I'm living in London and talk about bitter leaf. But when you hear about bitter leaf, you think bitter leaf is just something in Nigeria. All over Africa, bitter leaf is very powerful for Africans all over the planet. But people don't know the importance of bitter leaf. So much importance for the body, for health and healing. But we run and we pick up the first Coke. We pick up the first soda. I never drink soda. When I was young, I get involved in that. But when I was going to school in my village, they told me in school, never eat and drink because your digestive juice don't work. And I've learned that from early, and I don't eat and drink, or I wait a half an hour or an hour after. Practice. Growing up in the Caribbean, we used to play a game called Run for Bush, where we gather as groups and somebody name a bush and we have to try to see who has find it. And I realized this is how we were learning about what's in our environment. And I'm still running for bush. So right now I'm running to Africa for all the bush. I'm learning about lots of different herbs. There's some herbs so powerful, I don't even want to talk about it. It's too loud. They're so magical and mystical. I don't want to say the word too loud.
Preserve it for a gathering where it is us, amongst us, and more African grounded space, please. Yes.
So we say in herbology, the root herbs are considered the teachers. The nuts are the ones that help with communications because they pass information from one to the other. Yes? The leaves are connected, and this is all planetary influence with the plants. So one plant, the root is a planetary ruler with Saturn, which is the teacher in that sense. Mercury, the communicator. So if you want to be a good communicator, eat a lot of nuts, go nuts. Emotional issues on beauty, emotional issues, you want to take more leaf and more fruit stuff to help to deal with the emotion. But when you come into beauty, if you want to beautify yourself or you want to look even more beautiful, you take the flower herbs like chrysanthemum, like sorrel, because the flowers are representing Venus. They keep you looking young and beautiful. This is nature design.
See Nico's face.
But we're not taught these things. But
it's so simple.
It's in the documents. It's there. But we're not taught to study that. Everybody wants to go west.
And it's intentional.
And what they say, west is where they bury the dead.
But here's the thing, Brother Clyde and Brother Oladile. I'm getting to a point, especially on this issue, because liberation, yes, we need to awaken people. Religion, we need to awaken people, and all the other things that are causing harm. But on this issue, I'm at the point where those of us who are learning to awaken, let's continue. Let's start preserving this knowledge. Let's share it. I'm not going to be in the business of convincing you that you need to believe in the herbs. I'm going to let you die off so that it can be easier for us to build a better community. No, I'm not even joking about this. Like, that's nature taking care of business. If I have to sit and convince you who is suffering from cancer, who is sneezing all the time because of being around these criminal spaces, that we need a different way of being, because clearly the current way of being is causing us illness. If I have to sit and convince you that, yeah, maybe you need to hit 6 feet under and clear the way for others. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But go on, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we
Something
need to start questions. Yeah, we need to start. We go to questions. We're at
Okay.
1 hour, 10 minutes.
Okay, let's do questions then, and then I could always think, because I wanted to talk.
question.
I wanted to talk about a herb that actually does a 2 million. Is it 2 million a year?
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I came across this herb. I've been looking for this herb long time, but the name I was looking for it under, and the name that I found it is coming. They call it pigeon. Yeah, but in Africa it's called Prunus africana. It's actually the African cherry bark. Yes, and that's been one of the most important plant coming out of Africa. The most harvest plant out of Africa is the African cherry bark. And guess what it's good for? It's very good for the prostate, along with other things. But you don't hear about that when it comes on to black men and prostate. Yet Africans been using it for the prostate issues. Yet this is the most plant that has been harvesting or been taken out of Africa for Europe. Amazing stuff when you study this, you know.
They
But
take
yes,
it
let's
from
go to
us.
question.
They
Yes.
learn about it because they have sat and watched us. They have observed us as
Yeah.
we observe nature. And
Yes.
then they took the knowledge from us and they took it to their labs and manufactured it and commodified it and then sold it to us with laced with poison, so that now we are a dependent people because they need customers. Capitalism will not survive if there are no sick people. The healthcare department will not survive. The healthcare field, the pharmaceutical field, the so-called healthcare, the pharmaceutical field, all those people, the John, what are they called? Johnson and Johnson, all those people will not be in business if there are no sick people. If we are all healthy, that industry is going down in flames. And so for them to stay alive, for them to be relevant, for them to put money in their pockets, they must ensure that there are sick people.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you ensure that they are sick people? You poison them. You poison them. That's the only way to ensure that there are sick people. You poison them, you cut them up, which is why doctors are quick to tell you do surgery on things that you shouldn't do surgery. You cut them up so that they can come back, because now they have a huge wound that needs to be maintained. And therefore, that's a guaranteed customer for life.
Yes. Yes.
When you think that way logically, when you think that way and understand capitalism, that's when you're like, oh, I've been a fool the whole time. I need to step away from this. Like, there's no convincing needed. We don't need to go proselytize on this. It's just simple. These people, do they focus on healing us, or do they focus on maintaining our illness so that we are a constant customer who comes back?
Yeah. Always remember, we're dealing with a system of colonialism in connection to medicine. And colonialism wasn't good, then whatever the medicine, the medicine is according to that system. And these are unapologetic people when it come on to crime and violence. The people who are stooped in crime and violence, who are actually running the health and healing so-called of the world in that sense. So how healthy and how healing can that be in connection when your background, I wanted to read something. I had something that I wanted to read. Let me go scripture, because a lot of people like to hear scripture. So let me go to scripture that I had there. And
These wazungus, have they interrupted our session?
Yeah, I think he's basically trying to read it from his phone. So yeah.
maybe Brother Galactic should not have reached to the evil realm of scriptures. It disrupted the ancestors.
Yeah, he's trying to go to the scriptures, man.
Can you hear me?
We lost you there, bro.
Can you hear me now? Okay. So the scripture is Acts 37 and Acts 7:37, Acts 7:48. Yeah. It said the Most High doesn't reside in no temple built with hands. Yes. And the scripture said, in God we live and move and have our being. We're in God and God is within us. And when we talk about God, we're talking about the male and female aspects of the divine. Yes. And so therefore, the plants that we eat, yes, they are connected to the divine. If they're not, then they're made by some, what they call it, factory. Some, what they call it, what you call it, the plant, what they call it, the modernized system.
Synthetics.
Yes, they're not synthetic. Yes, synthetic. They're not original nature design. Yeah, Coca-Cola and all of these things and all this soda that people think that they have to have because it's stylish. So we're eating for style and not for health. And we're dying in style.
Wow.
Because we're eating in style. Yes? Yeah? We eat for our health. We eat because eating is, as this says, is a form of communication. We're sending a signal to the different organs and plants. We're connecting like for like. So when we eat, we're eating to nourish the organ, an organ that is the spare part of nature for our nature. So the sun that is outside is in us, the moon that is outside is in us, the air that is outside is in us, the water that is outside is in us. So we drink water because our body needs water because there's water outside inside of us. The plants that is outside of us is also inside of us as energies. Not the other synthetic stuff. We don't have that synthetic. And so what they're trying to do now is use nanotechnology to make us synthetic, to accept, so our body could accept more of the synthetic.
Wow. When you break it down like that, it just sounds so worrying and just disheartening, and it's just horrible. Anuko, you got any questions from that, brother?
Here's the thing. I do have a point to bring up about the drum. And I shared the book, Kenya's Freedom Struggle, the Dedan Kimathi Papers, the Kenya Land and Freedom Army, the Mau Mau. Like I've said, this book, I share it all the time. I recommend that you pick it up and read it and keep it for reference. It's a collection of letters written by members of the Kenya Land and Freedom Army, put together and translated by Maina wa Kenyati. And I thank him so much for doing so, because it's been a blessing for me. But while they were in the forests hiding from the white man and organizing to fight the white man in Kenya, the British, they studied the plants, and there were healers among them who were one with the plants, and they studied them. And this is mentioned there. They studied the animals. They communed with the animals. There's a point where they encounter a couple of rhinos, and unlike the white man shooting them down so that they can pass through, they take another route and let the rhinos be. Like they do not, and they had guns. They understand that this is nature. We're not going to destroy nature just for the sake of it. The respect me, I'll respect you. So the evidence is there, even recently, as recent as the Kenya Land and Freedom Army, that we were people who were one with nature, and because of it, our health was maintained. And now that we have detached from nature, our health it's not health. We are surviving, basically, hardly surviving. But brother, you mentioned the drum being a union of the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom. But as you mentioned the drum, I mean, you could say the animal dies and you skin it and you use the skin, so you're not necessarily eating it. But there's evidence that we are people who, to get a balanced diet, animal is food to us. And we've brought up the fact that we have the two teeth in the corners that are flesh-tearing teeth. What do you have to say about this, brother?
Okay, Long time ago, that's back in the 90s when I actually became full-fledged vegan. I learned, and I like to talk about this part. I learned that animals that have long intestines does not eat meat. All animals that have short intestines eat meat. All animals that have long intestines don't eat meat. Guess how our intestines are as humans? Long or short?
The size
I
of the
don't
road
know.
that goes from Africa to Europe.
Our intestines, if you stretch out, is 3 times our height. So our intestines is long. So we are aligned with the animals that don't eat meat. Hence, that's why when you become a Sangoma or you're training to be a Sangama, what they would do, they would do a special enema to get rid of all of that meat and stuff out of the system. And as you're training, you're not supposed to partake with animals and stuff like that. Yes? So our ancestors know that you can eat meat to a certain state or to a certain extent because your body have a tolerance level. Let me tell you about the tolerance level. That's why when people start reaching the age 50, that's when you hit your tolerance level. That's where that different types of sickness start set in. But now it's become 20 and 30 now for younger generation because of synthetic. But our tolerance level is aligned with the planet Saturn or aligned with our Saturn return. And that's when we have to shape up or ship out, because our body have a tolerance level. So yes, if things are rough, you could always take a chance like we do in everything else, but it's not a life sustaining. If we talk about life sustaining, the plant kingdom is the best. And if you want to go even higher than the plant kingdom, you go psychedelics or you go breatharian. And you think the breath, let's just talk about the breath. We think that, okay, somebody said they're breatharian, that they don't have no substance. Yeah. There's so much to the breath that those things that are connected with the breath can fly. The birds that are connected with the element of the air, they can fly, they can leave this plane. Yes, because the air element is a high quality. Yes, the air and the air and the fire is considered the highest quality, and the earth is the lowest quality, and then and the water in between. But the highest quality of element is the air. So when people think of breatharian and think that it's all, hocus pocus, the breath is so important. It's nourishing. You can't do without it. Yes. So don't look. Yeah. So these are quality. That's why you put a ginger on the counter and it's growing. Why the ginger growing and it's not in the dirt? Because the ginger is of a air quality. You see some plants that growing on a stone wall. Why did the plant growing on a stone wall? Because it's absorbing calcium from the stones. That's nature. But some plants that are connected to air don't need to be planted in the earth. They could just grow just off, like one of my favorite plants is the mistletoe. Everybody ever seen the mistletoe growing in the wild? What did you notice? What is the first thing you notice about the mistletoe? It grows like a ball, full circle. What does the circle represent? The circle represents spirit. I ask this question all the time. Have you ever seen a square fruit?
Genetically modified, though, but not normal.
The only way you see a fruit that is square is some juice in a box that is square. But there's no fruit in nature that is square. Why? Because square represents the earth plane, the material plane. And the reason why most foods are circle, because the spirit is the refrigerator. The circle acts as a preservative. It's spirit. And so the mistletoe grows as a circle, which means it's a very spiritual plant. It doesn't touch the ground. It grows on top of another tree. It grows on the element, its strong element is air. You could always tell an air element plant because they don't need to be grown on the dirt, or they can just grow on their own, or they could survive on their own. Most of our fruits are round in shape because round shape represents spirit. It's a matter of preservative by nature. It's spiritually preserved. Refrigerator is a square box, like a coffin.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro. Just to round this up, man. I'm just gonna one more question from me, and then I'm gonna ask you a question from my last guest.
Yes.
How do we get back to our ancestral ways, my brother? How do we preserve them?
It goes to where we start, that the future is in the past.
Yeah.
Yes? And the past is always coming back. And how does it come back? We're in the age of Pisces going into the age of Aquarius, or on the cusp of the age of Aquarius. Years ago, way back in time, we were in the age of Aquarius. It's coming back again. The age of Pisces is leaving, but it's going to come back. And what it comes with its own influence. Just like the months, the astrological months come back each year. Just like the plants come back, the perennial plants. And I said, those plants that doesn't go, there's some plant that don't die. They call the evergreen plant. I always said to people, any evergreen plant, like rosemary, that grows all year round, any plant that grows all year round is good for the whole body. How do I know this? Because astrology and herbology tells me that. Your head represents the beginning of the year, your feet is the end of the year. So all the 12 months can be seen in the body. The body is a sign of the year.
Wow. I've never heard it that way before, man.
But that's a very interesting.
So I could say March, April, May, June, and go all the way down to the feet.
But that's a very
very
interesting concept, brother, because we're not following a year that is African. An African year begins in September, around that time. So how does that affect our understanding of that? And how do we adjust when we're following a Western year? Like, this is the thing.
Yes, that's a very good one. And that's where we're going to get into astrology next. Because what it is, when we're celebrating in the West, I'm in England, and when we're celebrating spring, it's considered fall in Africa. When Africa is in spring, we're in fall over here. So it's cut in half, the other side. And that's what it is. You're right. September is the springtime in Africa. It's the beginning. So let's look at the body in connection. So what the body symbolize? The body symbolize the risen sun, the head. The head is the risen sun. I always said to people, prove to me that you're a child of God. And they don't know how to say. I said, your head is the sun. Your heart is also the sun, but your head is the morning sun. Your heart is the midday sun, and your sexual part is the setting sun.
To all those who make fun of my big head, understand that I have a large sun.
So that's the risen sun.
Wow.
And we know every time we celebrate, so the equinox and solstice and all of that, that's the beginning of a spring, that's the head. Your head is the Aries sun. Your heart is the Leo sun, and your sexual part is the setting sun. That's why we say resurrection or erection. And I could go to all the parts according to the sun. We're 12 sun in one body.
Yeah, I think we're gonna come back to talk about astrology. Actually, I think I want to learn about that. So we're gonna bring you back on that one. Definitely.
Yeah. Oladele, before you go to the question from our last guest, the one other thing that I needed for us to take away is the understanding that for us, good health and well-being is mental, physical, and spiritual. So you cannot be in a space talking about separation of state and religion, right? For them it's religion, but for us it's spiritual. You cannot separate your business activities from your spiritual activities. from your mental activities. They all go together. Brother, if you can speak quickly on that, and then we go to the question, the understanding that you cannot ignore one aspect of being.
Yes. And the highest aspect, that the most important aspect, is the spiritual aspect. Hence, the scripture says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else shall be added. This is why it's important to understand our spiritual connection, not our religious connection. And that's what most people are caught up in, religion. No, the spiritual connection, your connection. We're a spirit being in a physical body. Yes, and the mental aspect is the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. And until we understand that we're a spirit being and our connection with spirit, then we will, and if we don't understand that, we don't understand the reason for us being here. Because we're not here for 9 to 5. That's something we add just to have something on to have a nice car or nice shoes or what have you. That's the 9 to 5. But that's not why we're here. Yes? We're here because we're on a spiritual mission. Until we find that mission, we're just wandering in the dark. But when we find it, that's where we become the Akomfos, become the priests and the Balagozis and the Aswakas and the different healers. We come with our messages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're speaking to my spirit, brother. You're speaking to my spirit. You're speaking to my soul, man. You're speaking to my spirit, man.
I share.
Wow.
I give thanks
know,
for the
brother,
knowledge that our ancestors left.
What does Bill Gates?
Go ahead.
What does Bill Gates eat? I want every African to ask themselves that question.
Do you have to go there?
No. Every single African who Bill Gates walks in a room and you clap for him, ask yourself, is Bill Gates eating the same thing he's selling me to eat? But brother, go ahead to the question.
Okay, I have a question here, which is kind of deep. Okay. The question is,
go ahead.
And this one actually is very good for you, actually. So speaking to you, I think you're already walking the walk anyway. But I'll ask it: Are you willing to be completely cleansed, purified, renewed, rebirthed, regenerated, rejuvenated, revitalized, re-verified to walk the face of the earth as some of the most dynamic spirits on the planet on behalf of our liberation, so that you are leadership in the light in our day and time? Wow. It's a question for you. Did you get that?
Yes. Well, that's the work. That's the work.
Yeah.
That's the work, because that's the work. And that's why I do the research. That's why I go back to come forward. I go all the way back, just like a slingshot, to study, analyze the things that is black. The things me see me have to come chat, because the negativity, I don't like that. So I go back to come forward, because the future is linked with the past and the past is linked with the future. We're just going around in the circle. We might as well understand the circle. But some people are more interested in the circus.
Yeah, sadly. And Lakunduku said we can't save those people. Okay, my brother. Just can you give us a question for our next guest, please, sir? What's in your mind? What are you thinking?
Oh, me. A question for the next guest. Okay, question for the next guest. This is a very, very, very interesting one. The sleeping giant is awake. How do we participate in the awakenedness?
Say that one more time. The sleeping giant?
The sleeping giant is awake, and the sleeping giant is always referred to Africa. How do we participate in its awakenedness? Wow. That means we all have a role to play. What's our role? What's your role? It's a question for all of us. And this, I said this in connection to our brother in Burkina Faso.
Yeah.
Yes, because I see African voices is being raised in connection. Touch not the anointed.
Yeah, they better not. They better not touch the brother. Yeah, thanks, my brother. I think this is actually very appropriate for our next guest. And this question goes to actually everybody. You know, the sleeping giant is awake. We're awakened right now because everybody knows what's going on. And are we going to sit back and let these imperialists do what they've done to our heroes in the past? We cannot allow this to happen. We would not allow this to happen. So, guys, we need to get involved, participate, talk. Let's walk the walk. I think there is a march going on all over the place on the 30th of April, where people are. It's been organized all over the world, where people are participating and actually supporting Ibrahim Traore. So, wherever you are, if it's in the flyer, please get involved.
But even more than the march, something I saw, and now I'm thinking about it, because it may have been a joke or something online about young Africans volunteering to join his military. I recommend, if you can volunteer, go support in that way.
Yeah.
Sister, you touch on the Mau Mau, yeah? And I wanted to talk about the ritual that the Mau Mau did.
Please do, brother. That's where the ancestors are taking you to do.
The Mau Mau did a powerful blood ritual that the king in England didn't even last. When that ritual was put in place, the queen was in the queen was in Kenya. She had to come home.
True.
Yeah. That ritual was so powerful, and that was a blood ritual, unified everybody under one umbrella. Because today we're looking at what's going on in Palestinian, and everybody is up in arms, over what's going on in Palestinian. But most people don't realize that's child play compared to what was happening in Kenya under the British Empire. Because we don't study history, and when you see what was happening. We're talking millions of people in concentration camp in their own country, in Kenya, under the British Empire. We need to talk about our thing, but more time they got us watching
crap.
Yeah, I recommend before we even have it here. There's a channel on YouTube, the Mau Mau Chronicles. Chronicles. Okay, sorry, spelling is losing me. There, look it up on YouTube. They have broadcasts of surviving Kenya Land and Freedom members, their children, who are telling these narratives of how they moved, how they feel about the current government, how they feel about so-called independence. If you want to learn more about the Mau Mau, go there. But there's also evidence in the book that I shared, Kenya's freedom struggle, the Dedan Kimathi papers, if you want to learn more. A powerful source of knowledge.
Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the knowledge shared. And for those who are watching and listening, please subscribe. My brother Clyde, if they want to get hold of you, if they want to reach you, how can they get hold of you? How can they reach you, please?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. They can watch some of my presentations on YouTube channel. I put very little stuff up, but my phone number, I can give my phone number out, and also could give an email. Those people want to touch base. I'm 07961 476 356. And I always say I do answer my phone. 07961 476 356. For any reason you don't get an answer, it might be on the underground or it might be on another call. But I do call back or I attend to my phone in that sense. I'm not one of the ones that hide away to speak to our brothers and sisters.
I can testify to that. He does answer his phone. Yes, he does.
Right, great.
And the email address?
Thank you. Email address is anktology@hotmail.com. That's Anktology, Ank for life, astrology, numerology, hermetic, and hermetic and Kabbalistic, all link. Yes, with the principal science in understanding to have life in this time, to understand yourself. So Anktology, the study of life.
And is that the same name?
Yeah, that's Anktology@hotmail.com. TOLOGY@hotmail.com.
Is that the same name for your YouTube channel?
Just Galactic Clyde.
I found it.
Yes.
Let me share it.
So anktology@gmail.com, yeah?
No, at Hotmail.
At Hotmail. Okay, and Ank is ANKH Thology THOLOGO, yeah?
TOLOGY, yeah.
THOLOGO.
Yeah. ANKHTOLOGY @hotmail.com.
Okay, all right, perfect. I got it.
Yes.
Okay, I'm putting it out there.
Yes. And I must say, it's a 4-year study I'm embarked on, and I'm only at Ghana now. So from January, February, March, and now April, and now May, I'm going to move into another country. So 4-year study, the health and healing system. And from that going to come books and documentaries in connection to the research. And the reason why I'm able to do this research in such a particular way, I'm not afraid to go into the mystical, the metaphysical, the astrological, and all of the stuff on even what they call the witchcraft and the magical. I sent something in the chat, in the WhatsApp group. I want you all to look, yeah, because we wasn't able to talk about this, but it was a sister who tried to avoid the spirit. She tried to avoid the spirit because the spirit got her certain work for her. She ran away from the spirit, and she had to live in a tree for 3 months in a tree. Yeah, because the spirit want her for a particular job. Spiritual job, and she ran away from it. She ran in the church. The spirit leave her, and he came back after her, and she had to take up a mission. But we didn't get chance to go to that. And I came across this research because this research was done by a group here in the UK, some business group. And so it's interesting, but we couldn't get to go into that today. But
yeah,
at least
brother, we'll bring you back. We're gonna bring you back again, man. So we're gonna do this again.
Well, that time I'll be touching another country, so it'll be heavier.
Yeah.
And so if anybody from the continent wonder why I didn't reach their country, is because there's so much to cover, and there's some things I don't even want to talk about. It's so deep, so powerful. It's not that I don't want to share, but some things I'm holding for my book.
Yeah,
is that we're not ready to receive either. We're not ready to. Some of us and most of us are not ready to receive. So,
Ashe.
Thank you, my brother.
Give thanks.
Okay, thank you everybody for watching, and thanks for tuning in. Please follow us on our YouTube channels, the Emerging Alkebulan, Kumbu Kenny. Please follow, subscribe. Let's build our base. Let's build a subscription. Let's be able to monetize what we're doing, guys, so we can actually get further, because we do a lot of work, and we need a subscription. So I don't normally say it, but it's got to that stage where we need to actually build the base, because we need to share the knowledge. So thanks for following, everybody.
Thanks for taking the time out for me. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Cheers.
Asante, Brother Clyde.
Bro,
Yes.
Great. I'm just gonna